My name is Kev, and figured we would just wait a little bit, let some people show up here. Um, I'm dysregulated today, and um, wasn't sure what I was gonna do today on the live, but I don't really know if I can do music today. It's just kind of a um, I'm just having kind of a minor trigger day, and dysregulated is the correct word for how I'm feeling. Um, and it's been happening a lot lately, where I've been getting triggered, um, and it has to do with me, like different things that people do trigger me, but they're not doing anything wrong. It's just something that's activating something in my brain, and and it's making me fight with my brain. And I have on my shoulder the angel and the devil, the positive perspective and the negative perspective, and they just are battling like crazy. And I used to not have the angel, the positive perspective. It used to just all be the devil, the negative perspective, hammering in my brain. But since I've become educated and am more aware of what's going on in my brain in the moment, I have that educated angel standing by who counteracts the devil. Um, so I'm feeling dysregulated. I'm feeling a little of a hi, Helen. It's nice to see you. Um, and feeling a little overwhelmed. I thought maybe I could share some of my book um, with you. If you let me know in the chat if you'd like me to read some of what I've written in my book. Um, I was thinking I was just gonna kinda come on here and say, I can't really do music today, but I do wanna hang out. It um, I'm feeling like a I feel like a hurt little kid, and, so I know that that's PTSD, and, when you I know that it's a PTSD trigger when I'm feeling like a kid, and, let me bring up some of my book, and I thought I would read to you. Hey, Avery, good to see you. I thought I would read to you a little bit. Let me find it real quick here in my documents. A little bit from my book. Let me get to. You know what I'm going to do is the first thing I'm going to read. I think it's going to help me because the first thing I'm going to read to you is the author's note, which comes in the beginning of the book. And I use this author's note to motivate me and uplift me in what I'm doing. I read it a lot, and every time I sit down to write, I read through my author's note to remind me what I'm doing. So this is the author's note that is going to be going in my book. Author's note. Some of the memories in this book are sharp and vivid. Others are blurry, like snapshots from someone else's life. They come in fragments, still images, disconnected scenes, often in black and white. Writing about them wasn't easy. Reliving them has been even harder. A lot of that has to do with how the brain protects itself. When you've lived with schizophrenia, bipolar, trauma, and loss, your mind doesn't always hold on to the things the way others expect it to. Sometimes it buries what hurts too much to carry. Sometimes it fractures the timeline. Oftentimes, it makes you question whether your memories are real at all. I've lived with that most of my life. For years, I felt like I didn't own my own story, only fragments of it, scattered into songs, art, and other seemingly random expressions. This book is me stitching together those pieces for my own sanity and recovery. Before we go any further, I want to say this. I'm still here, I'm alive, and for the most part, I'm happily traveling in my adventure. If you're someone like me, who is someone who reads heavy stories and worries about how they'll end, let me offer you this spoiler. It ends with hope, with giving, and with excitement for the road ahead. There is light, there is laughter, there is music, there is me, glitter on my nails, still creating. This isn't a story to blame anyone. I believe those closest to me did the best they could with the knowledge and tools they had at the time. This book isn't about judgment, it's about honesty. It's about telling the truth even when the truth is complicated and hard to piece together. It's about owning the parts of my life that once made me feel ashamed so I can finally say, that happened to me and I still deserve love, peace, joy, and fulfillment. I wrote Terminally Unique for my own recovery and growth, but not just for me. I wrote it for the kid who doesn't know why they feel so different, the newly diagnosed and scared they've lost their future, the ones misdiagnosed, dismissed, or told they're too sensitive, too intense, or lazy and not enough. I wrote it for the ones who've hit bottom, whether that bottom was loud in public or quiet and invisible. Maybe that's you or someone you love. Maybe you've spent years surviving without realizing it. Maybe you've told yourself no one could possibly understand what it's like inside your head. If so, I want you to know you are not alone. Recovery is possible, even from the worst pain, even from utter madness and horror, even from losing everything. You can build something new, something beautiful and sparkling, something that feels like the true you. The name Terminally Unique came to me as a teenager in the 1980s, while I was locked in a psychiatric unit for kids. I used the phrase to explain to my psychologist what I thought was wrong with me. I felt so different, so fundamentally unlike anyone else, created in error, that I believed it would ultimately kill me. This book is what happens when that belief turns from a curse into a challenge. Becoming a certified mental health peer specialist and later an advocate and speaker gave me the purpose and meaning I needed to live with the hardest parts of my story. It helped me see I wasn't just surviving, I was becoming the person I needed when I was younger. I'm not here to sell you a perfect ending because I'm still adventuring, but I'm here to say that stabilization is not the ceiling of recovery. You are allowed to grow, to heal, to create, to cry, to fail, to rest, to help, to need help, and to try again. To build a life that fits who you are instead of settling for one someone else imagines for you. This book is my way of leaving something behind, something real, a record, a reminder. It's a hand reaching out through the pages saying, you're not broken, you're not alone, not even close. So that is my author's note, and I read it every time I go to write to remind me why I'm writing. Let me check in the chat here. Hi, Em. Hi, Glimmer. I haven't put glitter on my nails in a while. I haven't really been tapping into that side lately. Okay, well, I would like to share some more of my writing if you'd like to listen. Um, I came up with the term terminally unique in the 1980s when when I was between 13 and 14 years old, and I went on to a blah, 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 rewind. I went on to a locked psychiatric unit for kids, and I thought I wrote about that, and so I thought I would read what I wrote about that area, and it's called Unit K. Here we go. The first time we drove up to the hospital, I sat alone in the back seat, watching the New Hampshire mountains roll by. My dad drove. My mom rode up front. We didn't say much. The radio played Motown while the tires hummed against the road. At my feet sat a small gym bag with a couple of days' clothes. No band t-shirts, no logos. I had been told not to bring anything personal, nothing extra. The mountains were lit with early fall colors, red and gold and fire orange, but the beauty did not touch me. I was anxious. Each mile felt like it pulled me further from home, like a thread stretching to breaking. It was the first time I had ever been away from family or friends, and this was not just leaving home, it was being left. I knew I was heading to a psychiatric hospital. My friends called it rehab when I told them I had to go. I did not know the difference. I did not know anything about psychology or the world I was about to enter. The hospital was tucked into a small town at the end of a long, winding driveway. From the outside, it looked like a ski lodge with stone walls and heavy wooden beams. It looked like the kind of place where you might expect hot chocolate by a fire, but the illusion disappeared the moment we stepped inside. A nurse met us and guided us through locked doors, one after another. Each click echoed behind us as if the doors were sealing me in. I had agreed to this. It was supposed to be voluntary, yet each heavy knock felt less like help and more like jail. At the final door, a wooden plaque read Unit K. They told me the K stood for kids. The cheerfulness of the explanation did not fit the weight in my stomach. Inside, the unit was silent. The other kids were at school. The emptiness felt eerie, like being led into a theater before a show begins, uncertain what kind of story is about to unfold. The first thing they asked me to do was pee in a cup with a stranger watching to make sure I did not cheat. That was the welcome. That was how it started. After the urine test, we sat in a small conference room with a buzzing fluorescent light and a window that did not open. My mom to the left, my dad to the right. None of us spoke. We just waited. The doctor entered. She was petite, with straight black hair falling softly over one eye. No white coat, just black and gray clothes. Her presence was calm, her smile faint but steady. She sat across from me and asked me a single question. She asked me about my grandmother. I froze. Nana. The grief surged so fast I could not hold back. My eyes flooded and I broke open. I had not cried since her wake. No one had asked me about her since the casket closed. Nana had been my anchor, my comfort, my safe place. Losing her 2 years before had hollowed me, but I had buried it deep under anger and distraction. And now, with one quiet question, the dam burst. My parents looked stunned. They had not seen this grief. They did not know, but Dr. Canning seemed prepared. She said it was enough for now, and she gently led me to the unit. She sat me at a round table covered in crayons and colored pencils and told me the other kids would be back soon. I started drawing, head down, sketching Pink Floyd's The Wall, patting my eyes to hide the tears. When the back door opened, 6 kids walked in, laughing like they had lived there forever. They wore blank clothes, no logos, no bands, just sweatshirts and jeans. They looked like kids from different cliques who would never mix outside, but here they moved like one group. I felt panic rise, nervous about meeting them. I kept my head down, pretending to be absorbed by my drawing. Then a girl sat across from me, short red hair, pixie cut, jeans, sweatshirt, confident but easy. She walked like we were she talked like we were already friends. Her name was Janet. She became my first lifeline. We swapped music, band names, and found comfort in shared weirdness. Soon I was pulled into a game of speed Uno with Janet and the others. Chaotic, loud, full of laughter. For the first time since arriving, I laughed too. The kids told me what life was like. They warned me about Jose, the bully. Their warning made me feel strangely included. Brian stood out to me. Long blonde hair, stoner hippie vibe, calm to his core. He knew music better than anyone I had met. He was kind to everyone, even Jose. I was volatile and angry, but Brian carried a peace within him. He became my anchor. Melissa was warm and charismatic, a kind girl who had been popular in school, but here she treated me as an equal. But my roommate, Jose, stocky, muscular, threatening, he whispered promises to beat me in my sleep. He kept me awake night after night, tense and listening for his movements. Staff began sitting outside our door at night. I never reported him. I thought nothing would change, but over time I began to see him differently. After family meetings, he would pull away, quiet and heavy. Rumors spread that he lived in a house of abuse. The fear remained, but the hate softened. One night when he threatened me again, I simply said, "Good night, Jose." Not because I felt safe, but because I understood. He was not only trying to hurt me, he was trying not to be hurt himself. Not everything was calm. Emotions were policed here. Swear and you went to timeout. Protest too loudly and you were locked in a padded room. Keep going and the staff would swarm you. The first time I was restrained, it began with swearing at the staff. That earned me a timeout. I would not stay quiet, so they put me in the padded room. Inside, I grew physically violent. I slammed into walls and I raged. That was when the staff came in. They grabbed me, pressed me down, and strapped me to a restraint bed. Wrist, ankles, chest. I lay flat, unable to move, fully vulnerable and without control. Being restrained is terrifying. It is not like being held or even pinned in a fight. It is the complete surrender of your body, your voice, and your will. The moment the last strap tightened, something in me broke. The world went silent as if I had dropped underwater. All I could hear was my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. I tried to speak, to scream that I was not dangerous, only in pain. Nothing came out, just hot tears running down my face, the panic of being erased, and the unbearable truth that no one in the room could see me for what I really was. A scared 14-year-old boy. Being restrained like that taught me something instantly. If I let my feelings out, I would be taken down. It was not safe to be sad or angry or even joyful. so I began to erase them. I stopped showing sadness. I stopped showing anger. I even stopped smiling. For a time, I believed if bad feelings grew when you buried them, maybe good feelings would too. I would laugh silently inside myself, convinced the laughter would last longer that way. But slowly I began to wear a mask of blankness. No frown, no smile, just enough to pass unnoticed. That mask became my survival. It taught me to study people, to mirror their timing, their expressions, their tone. I learned how to blend, to never give away too much. The mask protected me. It also betrayed me. Over the years, it grew more complex until it became who I was. Now, even decades later, I'm still learning to take it off. Each day we walked to a small cottage building for school. One teacher, one room. We began each day writing in blue journals. We all knew not to write anything real. If you did, the counselors would swarm you. So we all rehearsed the same script. I'm fine, just tired, feeling okay, a little groggy. It was safer that way. I formed a crew with Brian, Janet, and Melissa. We hung out by the back door, daydreaming about escape. Brian told me stories of the kids who had tried and failed. He knew we would not get far, but we knew we would not get far, but planning gave us hope. Family meetings were dreaded. Mine often turned into therapists telling my parents what they were doing wrong. There were tears. I felt guilty for being different, for being a burden. My father visited every weekend. He drove an hour each way to see me. One time he arrived and I was locked in the padded room for swearing at the staff. They told me they were going to send him home without a visit. I lost control. I screamed that upsetting him would kill him, that he would have a heart attack on the drive home. I threw myself against the walls until the staff came in and strapped me down again. Later in a family meeting with Dr. Canning, I told him that Nana had taught me that I must never upset him, or I might cause his death. My father hugged me and told me nothing I could do would kill him. He said it as an adult, respectful, sincere way that sank into me. For the first time, I trusted that I could tell him how I felt without destroying him. Debbie arrived later, quiet at a table with stitches in her wrists. She told me that she had tried to kill herself because her boyfriend had broken up with her. We drew together, shared stories, and created a bond that made me feel emotionally safe with someone my own age for the first time. I kept parts of myself hidden from her, as I did with everyone, but through art and music, she seemed to see me anyways. I felt admired instead of judged. Many years later, about 25 years after Unit K, I met Debbie again. To my surprise, she told me that she had saved the drawings I had given her during our time there. After everything that had happened, she had kept those pieces of paper safe. Hearing that made me realize how real our connection had been, and how even in a place of fear and restraints, something we created together had lasted across those decades. What was supposed to be 6 weeks turned into 6 months. When my insurance finally ran out, I was called into a meeting, and they asked me how I felt about going home. I understood what was at stake. Home meant going back to the same place where I felt isolated, misunderstood, and unsafe. The only way to survive there would have been to pretend I was fine until I could not pretend anymore. The alternative was to remain inside a place that strapped me to restraint beds and locked me in padded rooms. Neither choice felt like healing, but I knew which one gave me a chance to stay alive. For my own safety, I advocated for myself. I told them I could not go home and that if I did, I would definitely kill myself within a year. It was not a threat. It was not drama. It was the most honest thing I had said in months. I was choosing the pain I already knew because the pain I carried at home would have ended me. They made a plan. I would be transferred to another hospital in Massachusetts until a space opened in a group home nearby my actual home. And that was the next step. So that's my essay about Unit K. Got a little emotional. Let me check the chat here. I hope you have a good night, Helen. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, I wish if you didn't weren't here at the beginning, I'm having a bit of a minor trigger today, and I'm feeling dysregulated. So I'm not really up to doing music. If you want to hear some music, I just released a video of Saturday's concert in full. I played a concert here. I also just released my vlog. But I just released my concert from Saturday, the full 40-minute concert. So if you want some music that's all nice, light, upbeat, and lighthearted music, I'm burping. I appreciate y'all being here, and I wasn't sure whether to, I wanted to show up because I wanted to show up, if that makes sense. And even though I can't do music tonight, but I really appreciate everyone who turns out on Tuesdays. And I did do some music this morning at the live stream. I think that's available to watch as well. I was having a good morning, and and sometimes just things happen that spark something in my brain that just sends me downhill and dysregulates me, and it's just something I have to deal with. um I really enjoyed reading some of my writing to you. I've been feeling frozen, and it's been hard to sit and do some writing. I was really hoping to spend most of today writing, and I spent most of today in bed, wishing I could fall asleep. So, but I did do my daily minimum. I got up, I did my daily routine, I took my meds, I did all the things that I do, and I did make some efforts to increase my mood today. Um, and I did do some writing today. I've been writing this D&D adventure, and where I have these little battles, and I've been practicing writing action. I don't know why, but it's been fun. And so I'm writing the story of Nicodemus, who gets whisked away to these gladiator type magical D&D events, and he has to fight these different monsters. And then I'm just typing and describing everything that happens. And so it's kind of like I get to play D&D while I'm writing. um, what's the rest of my night? Thanks for asking. I don't know. Probably it's going to be an early night, and I think I'll probably watch some Critical Role because it makes me laugh and it's lighthearted, and I want to watch something familiar, and have those familiar voices in my evening. I have some snacks for tonight, which is rare. I don't, usually I'm wanting snacks, but I don't have them. But tonight I have some chips and Doritos, and and I have these little sugary dots that have sugar and they're like gel, and they're pretty good. And I have one of my favorites, Charleston Chew. These are the minis, but my friends tell me I'm old because I still like Charleston Chew. So let me know if you like Charleston Chew. Do they have it where you are? Charleston Chew? I really like them. And then I actually ate food today too. But I've been loving these lately. These Nerds gummy clusters. I can't get enough of these. They're so good. But okay, that's enough about me. I hope you all have a good night. I really appreciate you being here and getting to share my writing with you. I'm looking forward. It's still going to be a while before the book comes out because I'm not even halfway through it. And as much as I would love to sit and write every day in like this routine, my dysregulation and things like that um, put breaks in it a lot, and I just can't do any writing. Um, just reading it makes me tear up, and so having to dive into that stuff and write about it and really relive it can be difficult. So okay, I guess I'll end here. Thanks so much. And yeah, be sure to check out my other videos. Saturday's concert is there. And I'm really happy with how the concert came out. I think I performed very well and I had a really great time on Saturday. And I think you can see it in the vlog too, because there's a little more footage in the vlog. So, but I hope you enjoyed the videos. I'm also gonna do some more reaction videos just because I enjoy doing them and they don't take a lot of emotional energy, which a lot of the things that I do take a lot of emotional energy. But doing a reaction video is like, it doesn't take emotional energy. It's just really relaxing and fun to do. So I don't want to fill up my channel with random reactions, but I will be doing some of them. Those look like some good snacks, some lighthearted things. Yeah, I agree, Anne. All right. Well, I hope you all have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. It feels so weird to end the stream when there's 7 people watching. If I knew something else to do, I would do it. Okay, bye.